Motivate of the Week, ladies and gentlemen. This video is motivated for one person. A person that I do respect. I have a lot of subscribers. I don't always know all of the names, like Legend04-101, I believe that's his name, or 100. Dude, I always forget to pronounce your full YouTube name. If that was correct, finally. If not, I'm sorry. Brittany Johnson is the one that's motivating me to do this video. Because she left a comment on the last video I did. She didn't understand why people hate Roman Reigns. And I tried to explain a little bit in the comment, and also Legend tried as well. But she did, in the last comment I saw her, I understand a little bit about John Cena, that he worked hard and he did this, but I still don't see the correlation between Roman Reigns and John Cena. This is the reason why I'm doing this video, so I can explain it to her as best as I know it, because I don't know everything. Not every wrestling fan who follows wrestling knows absolutely everything. I'm just going by my point of view. Of course, your view is going to be different. But this is how I feel about John Cena and the subsequent Roman Reigns. Back in 2002, John Cena hit the scene. Highly generic face. That means he's a good guy. Very generic. I don't know if I have a picture of him when he looked like in 2002 and when he was on SmackDown at the time, because they had the brand split at that time. I'll see if I can get it. But as you can see, he looks really generic. Then after getting his ass beaten up by Brock Lesnar, he switched from being a thug, a rapper, which in actuality he did love rap as a kid and hip hop. So he went for that. People really got behind him when he changed from heel to face. They liked that rap bit. But then after around 2000, I think 6 into 7, he changed his style again and became an extremely generic face that had only one way he worked. He had a few moves that he did, usually the moves of doom as they call them, usually 4 or 5 moves that he does, the 5 knuckle shuffle, the AA, which used to be the FU, and the STFU, which is now the the STF. I don't know why I blanked on that. But anyway, for years, the situation that pissed off the fans, and this is directed towards you, Brittany, is that they wanted to see him expand himself again. Because he went from a generic face to a cool heel, and then to a cool face with the same rough gimmick as a thug, and then he moved away from the thug bit and became generic face again, which never lost. And the problem that pissed everybody off, as he rose and went up, higher and higher, until he won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, multiple times he won those titles. The problem was that when he worked with somebody that looked like to get some great momentum to actually become good for the company, they get screwed over. Batista is one of them. Edge, even though, and I'll give it to you in this respect, Edge was strong enough to be able to survive after dealing with Cena. So that wasn't too much of a problem for him. He was able to survive that. He worked, I believe, with Christian a couple of times. He easily worked with Chris Jericho, but Chris had been around for such a long time, he couldn't get buried by him. But there have been many people that have been buried because of him. David Otunga is one. And I'm not saying David Otunga is the be-all, end-all wrestler. He's not. Wade Barrett is another. The CM Punk. And here's the thing with CM Punk. It wasn't the fact that he got buried by John Cena. It was the fact, next to his own attitude, because it's honest, he had an attitude. He knew as long as John Cena or Randy Orton was at the top, the company would not push him beyond what he was. And even though at one point in 2011 or 12, he had that title for a whole year and a few months, guess what? It didn't mean anything, because it never put him in anything meaningful, and never did anything meaningful. His character was highly bland. And that's the reason why he got so angry and he left the company. He knew he wasn't going to get anywhere. Look at Rusev. He had great momentum and he got nailed by John Cena. Look at Bray Wyatt. He should be a lot higher than he is. And I mean this. As much as he is WWE champion now, he should have been much higher than he was. The company did not do anything right with Bray Wyatt. Look at, there have been a lot of people. Batista's last run, of course he was going to go and do a movie, but he wasn't getting very far because John Cena kind of messed with him in that respect. Now, after saying just a few people, there's been more. I can't remember them all. I'm sorry, I just can't remember everybody. But you wonder, why? Why did John Cena have so many opportunities? It's simple. Around 2004, Brock Lesnar left. Also, The Rock left. Also, Stone Cold Steve Austin was too injured and he left. So 3 of the biggest money makers the company has had in a long time all left. So Vince McMahon didn't feel comfortable trusting anybody like he used to. Because every time when he invested in a Stone Cold Steve Austin, in a Brock Lesnar, particularly in The Rock, they left. Either because of bad injury and getting burnt out by the company, or they had opportunities and they decided to just go off and do them. So when John Cena seemed to get some momentum and he was highly loyal to the company, Vince just said, I'm focusing on him. I'm focusing on Randy Orton. I'm focusing on Triple H. These are the people that seem to stay and work. Now, doesn't mean that the work they do with other talent has fucked them over. And Vince didn't try to correct that. Of course. Now, what do I mean by that? We know Triple H has politicked his way literally to get anything he wanted. Eventually, he screwed over, and this is the truth, he screwed over the, I don't know why I'm even talking about China, because it is upsetting to know China is dead. But China was going to marry Triple H, and he fucked her over with Stephanie to the point where she had to run to Japan because she couldn't get work, because the stress was too much, because she couldn't get anywhere for the courts, and then eventually came back to the United States and died. Randy Orton, John Cena, they have buried people before, either legends or up-and-coming wrestlers. And in the end, Vince would rather have people who fuck people over that will still make him money than actually handle his business and say, stop it or you're done. That's how Vince works. So John Cena is one of those people that stayed in a company, that was loyal, that worked his ass off, but still screwed talent over. And that is the reason why, Brittany, that, and anyone else, the reason why people hate John Cena. But here's the reason for Roman Reigns. And I've seen Deluxe Man, and I've seen the Select Daddy, and I've seen several other people. If you ever heard the British Fist, they used to talk about this. And NJ17 was usually pissed off. It was Mr. Parkin and NJ. And they talked about this. NJ hated himself a John Cena. But when you look at Roman Reigns, many people believe that Roman Reigns is the next John Cena. For the simple reason is this. Because he's already been known through the company because of his relatives, because of the Usos, because of his parents being in the company, because of his father, his uncle. They've been in the company. So, when it comes down to it, they think he's getting a free ride. And when it comes down to it, anyone who's a second generation wrestler, not every time they get a free ride, but some have gotten it. And many people believe that he's gotten one. I believe at a certain point he has been given more opportunities than most of the younger talent that came from NXT. I'm not going to say that it's 100% every time, but he has been given opportunity. Has he politicked? Oh, hell yeah. Every wrestler does it. I'm sorry. Even, and I say this to anyone who's a Naomi fan, as much as I love me, my Naomi, you guys know, I got a picture right here. I took John Cena or I took Roman Reigns off the screen. You know how much I love Naomi. She's no different. She will find a way to do some type of politicking, to hustle, to get a position. That's what wrestlers eventually have to do if they're going to get anywhere. It's not always about their performance. They don't always get an opportunity from their ring work, their mic skills, their in-ring skills, their charisma. Sometimes they got to politic. They got to say, hey Vince, got to tell you, I got this really cool idea. Let me be the one who opens the show, and I'm sure for what I do, you'll get more popularity on the screen for that time I was on at that part in the show. Every wrestler does this to find some way to get an advantage. And he's done it. But because, and I'm saying this clearly to Brittany Johnson, anybody else, when it comes to Roman Reigns, because, and I say this very clearly, I want to make it very clear. I know I just repeated myself twice. Because Randy Orton, Triple H, and John Cena, and Vince himself have not been willing to let other talent throughout the years get somewhere. Look at Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. Kofi Kingston in 2009 was getting a huge rise. He could have easily got the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the second tier title before the WWE title. And Randy Orton fucked him over. Only now in the last couple of years has he gotten some traction, anything, because he was just spinning his wheels until New Day. They will screw people over because they'll piss them off. Someone pisses them off, they're fucked. They don't do what they want, they're fucked. And that's how it's been. And because for so many years, no new talent has been built except for Triple H, Randy Orton, and John Cena. Of course you can talk about Edge. Of course you can talk about Batista. Of course you can talk about The Undertaker. And the one who will not be named, Chris Benoit. And he had to fight hard to get recognition in that company, which unfortunately destroyed him. I do believe that he got destroyed because of the way he was working in the company. But that's for another video. If I ever do another video like I did the first video that got me started on YouTube. This is the reason why a Roman Reigns had to be pushed so quickly. And a Dean Ambrose and a Seth Rollins. They were pushed very quickly. Roman Reigns was pushed into the main title scene quickly because John Cena was not there. Remember, 14, 15, 16, they were having problems with John Cena. Randy Orton hadn't been around for a little bit. He got hurt. John Cena hadn't been there. He got hurt. He was periodically out. The Brock Lesnar wasn't there much. Sting was barely there much. Triple H was working in NXT. Edge had been retired. So they had literally very few people in the main title scene, and he seemed to have traction in the Shield, so they threw him out there. And this is what's pissing off the crowd. John Cena was pushed down people's throats in the respect that every time when there was somebody up and coming that looked like excuse me, pushed in the main title scene. And it looks like they could be really something good for the company. They face John Cena, gone. They get buried, and then they disappear. They just go away. And this was the problem for most of the years that caused this mess. So when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, John Cena is a product of the WWE's, how can I describe this in the proper context? The WWE's total and complete fear. I think that's the best way to say it. Their total fear in investing in one or more people, get them to a certain level, and then when they seem to really get traction more than just wrestling, they leave. Or they get hurt, or get disgruntled, and they leave. That is what caused people to hate a Roman Reigns in my humble perspective. That there's no one there, and they forced to push this guy who clearly is not ready. His mic skills are still not there yet. He's still not ready yet. His in-ring work, it's not bad, but it's not great. He still has those moments where he just seems to be botchy. He really, he doesn't have great charisma, but it is there. I see Roman Reigns in 5 years from now being a perfect main eventer. He's perfectly fine. I'm not saying he'll be the perfect main eventer, but he'll be perfectly fine in maybe 5 to 8 years. But he got pushed so quickly, there was no option to really get the fans behind him. And instead of, and make this very clear, instead of just keep him as a heel, because everyone's booing him, make him a heel. As they say, when in doubt, heel him out. They want to make him a face. Just like John Cena has always been a face since the time he had those transitions. He first started out as a generic face. Then he turned out into a thug heel that transitioned into a face. And then he'd gone away from the thug thing completely and just became a very generic face that has sometimes, he has some of those tendencies like he was as a thug. Of course, it's always there, but you would characterize that as thug instances with no other change. And that's what they see with Roman Reigns. That's what the hardcore fans can't stand. That you look at John Cena, you look at Roman Reigns, they may have not had the same rise, of course, but still they're being packaged similarly. Even though I generally don't see it that way, that Roman Reigns' package is not even close to John Cena's. It just isn't. But now the crowds are doing "Let's go Roman, Roman sucks" chants. So now it even makes it more apparent that people hate him. But this is just my point of view. And I hope you enjoyed this debate of the week. Please give me a comment below if you even like this. This is a long ass video. Brittany, if you see this, I hope you like it. And I hope I kind of describe it for you. Reason why people hate John Cena before and to a point now. And why they definitely hate Roman Reigns. Have a good day. Have a good night.